For every person, there's a moment
My wife and I lost our home to a fire.
when they discover that the world
When the second plane hit, it changed me.
and everything they hold dear
They placed in my arms my first son.
Tornado on the ground, phone lines are down.
can be taken away.
And that's why I'm a prepper.
That's why I'm a prepper.
That's why I'm a prepper.
While some hope for the best, these three
We have uninvited guests.
are preparing
When they're in the worm state, where you can eat them,
for the worst.
Shoot the deer.
They are Doomsday Preppers.
About 7 years ago, my wife and I lost our home to a fire. I watched a lifetime of work go up in smoke. We lost the home and everything in it, including my wife's wedding rings. And I don't ever want to feel that helpless again. And that's why I'm a prepper. I have enough food stock to last 20 people for 3 months. I have a storage tank, 4 ponds, and a nearby well. I have an underground bunker to keep my family safe for when disaster strikes. I'm prepping for a terrorist attack on our electrical grid that will send our society into chaos.
Evidence collected by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security suggests that cyber attacks on the electric grid are increasing both in frequency and sophistication. Roger believes a catastrophic terrorist attack on our electric grid is imminent and could send our nation back 150 years overnight.
We're literally one successful cyber attack away from our worst fears. An entire country with no electricity. With no electricity, gas pumps don't work, trucks that take groceries to your grocery store don't travel, and in 3 days, this nation will be in chaos. And when people cannot feed their children, they'll be killing their neighbors to steal their food. It's not going to be a light a candle and wait 30 minutes for the lights to come back on. It's going to be a life-changing event for every man, woman, and child in this country. And everything that we take for granted will be gone.
The state of Texas leads the nation in privately owned working farms. And with 3 generations of farming behind them, Roger and his wife, Jenny, live and work on their family farm, just 1 hour outside of Dallas.
My day usually starts off with feeding all the animals, immediately followed by water the garden and the orchard. Then whatever time is left in my day is working on my preps. This is the one I want to use from rabbit cages.
To avoid federal regulations, Texas is the only state in the continental U.S. that has a completely self-contained grid, making it harder for the state to rely on its neighbors if there is a cyber attack. Roger fears that when the power goes out, there will be chaos above ground, so he's planning to take his family below it.
I would absolutely consider the bunker the biggest project in my life.
14.5 inches tall, 12 by 13. 12 this way, 13 this way. Yeah.
Roger constructed the bunker out of 2 shipping containers, each measuring 8 feet wide, 45 feet long, and 9 feet high.
Take that end, unroll.
And over the past 2 years, he's spent over 2,500 hours making it livable.
Okay, that's the final bunk completed.
Cool.
My wife and I have 4 children between us and 6 grandchildren. Felicia and her husband Shane here. The bunks in the dining room, Blake and Sammy. In the bunker, we can sleep a dozen at the present time. Shane is getting the top of the freezer.
Okay.
We have survived a house fire and had to start over with nothing. So we have a very real appreciation of what it is to lose everything and the need to be better prepared for whatever life deals us. Mama's home cooking.
FEMA recommends storing a minimum of 3 days of non-perishable food and water per person for emergencies. Roger is stockpiling enough food in his bunker to feed 24 people over the course of 3 months.
We plan 3 meals a day. Kids get grouchy when they're hungry. I don't do with grouchy kids. I'd rather feed them. Beans, rice, dehydrated potatoes, all of those items are in food buckets. The food safe buckets are all sealed with Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers inside of them. They'll be stored underneath the floor. In addition to, we have individual bottled water. On my property, we have beef, pork, chicken, rabbits, and fish. I do not anticipate a shortage of protein.
Although efficient, Roger believes that housing rabbits underground could be a major liability, as their urine is corrosive, making them a hazard in an enclosed steel bunker. So he plans to stock the bunker's 26 cubic foot freezer with over 400 pounds of butchered meat from his farm.
I would consider the bunker 60% completed. I served in the United States Marine Corps for 3 years as a diesel mechanic, so I have a background in maintaining equipment that we've accumulated for the preps. So we're developing a system to pull fresh air into the bunker and filter it.
Oh, so that's going to be sitting.
Yes, the fan is going to sit on top of this piece. The air intake system is a crucial step in the planning of any bunker. That's looking pretty good. Anytime you have a large number of people in a small space, you don't want to be overcome with carbon dioxide that we exhale. Filter lays in here. So just like your house, the fresh air comes in, passes through the filter, so it forces all of the air out the bottom into the room.
Okay.
If there's a problem outside, somebody finds your bunker, wants to smoke you out, we have caps right here available to screw in.
Oh, okay.
To immediately protect you from whatever's coming in that pipe that's not fresh air. It's in.
Very cool.
Now that we have air, been waiting all day for that.
Roger's military experience has also prepared him to always have a backup plan.
Every good bunker needs a back door.
During the Vietnam War, Viet Cong soldiers built the Cu Chi tunnel system as guerrilla fortifications. U.S. attempts to destroy the tunnels took longer than expected, as the Viet Cong were constantly rebuilding and expanding, and included defensive features like trapdoors.
The camouflage for the escape hatch is just as important as the air intake and exhaust. You don't want any part of the bunker to be discovered from above ground. If the front door is discovered and somebody's trying to get in, you need a way out to go deal with that threat other than through the front door. The thought of the doghouse being great camouflage is once this is installed and the ground is graded off at that level, the old doghouse that's been chewed on by the dog just looks like something sitting out behind the building you didn't do anything with. It's hiding in plain sight. All I need is a pistol in my hand when I come up out of there. I believe it's important for all of the family members to be introduced to the bunker and the experience in advance so that when the day comes, everybody's familiar with it and how it works. Oh, dear. Come give me a hug. In the event of the electrical grid going down, the bunker will be necessary simply to keep the family safe. The experience in the bunker will be for 24 hours. Included in this bug-in drill will be my wife and I, and our daughters, Felicia and Melissa, Melissa's 2 children, and Felicia's husband, Shane, and their 2 children, and my granddaughter, Sammy. I see you brought your camera.
Yep. A bunker would definitely be necessary someday, but probably not for a few more generations, I think.
8, 9, 10. I hope there's still 10 of us when we finish tomorrow.
At least you can count.
I got 15 rounds on me. How many you have?
My grandpa, he can be pretty scary.
Everybody ready?
Who do you guys think is gonna be the first to go insane?
Probably you.
Hey.
Okay, this is last call before we shut the door. No takers? Okay.
Are you scared?
A little. I'm a little worried.
Roger Dougan fears that a terrorist cyber attack on America's electrical grid will leave his family to fend for themselves. So for the past 2 years, he's been building an underground bunker that he believes will keep his family safe from the chaos.
Everybody ready?
Today, they are going underground for 24 hours.
Okay, this is last call before we shut the door. The first thing we're gonna do is collect all the cell phones. The grid is down, there is no internet. Shane, the entertainment that kids grow up with these days may not be available. Somebody is outside, and the only way they find our bunkers because they hear your cell phone. If they're all turned off and put up, we're one step safer. We want you to keep the video camera so we know who tries to escape.
You allowed to place bets?
Place bets on who goes first?
Yeah.
Just don't let me know. I don't anticipate any negative reaction to my rules. My children and grandchildren are used to Grandpa's house, Grandpa's rules. Grandpa's bunker's really not any different for them. All firearms goes in the next box. We don't want 14 grouchy people armed in here at the same time. Thank you. I'm betting Melissa's carrying. Thank you, dear. The firearms and phones are going under my bed. There won't be no getting them back.
What about the bathroom situations?
Glad you asked. Last door on the right. I built a nice wall for privacy. Take care of business. You pump the plunger on the left. You pull the handle out down here. It rinses the bowl. Close it back up so it don't smell up the entire bunker. Is that private enough for you?
Yeah, it seems private.
How are you liking it in the bunker?
I'm not too sure about it. It's a little weird. Not like home.
Any other good questions? It's unanimous. Let's eat.
All right.
If we're all living in the bunker, you can bet everybody has to have a job.
In a real life scenario, how would we do dinner down here?
If electricity was out, we have a generator that we can hook up.
So we'd have electricity down here. That's sweet.
How is it, guys?
Excellent, Mother. I want to see to it that all of the people around this table survive, and not just survive, but also thrive, whatever the conditions of the rest of the world. They're settling in well and pretty comfortable.
Who's the horse?
I'm the horse, she's the sheep.
So there's Rebecca, Ashley, Shane, who's apparently really hungry today. They're playing board games. I'm tired.
Bedtime.
Blake, how you liking everything?
If I zip you up, you stay in there better? Okay, good boy. Comfy? It's amazing what you can get used to. I believe everybody will survive the night. Some will be more tense than others.
Well, everybody just climbed into bed, so I'm gonna sign off for tonight. Hopefully I survive tonight.
It's about 20 after 7, and everyone's still sleeping just fine.
Well, everybody woke up after a crap night of sleep. So this should be fun today. Hey, Gigi, how are you liking it in the bunker? I mean, we survived the night, but what do you think? Your what?
I miss my phone.
What about you?
It's tiny.
How are you three liking the bunker?
I slept peacefully.
So what y'all cooking?
We're gonna have pancakes this morning.
Being in the bunker is very claustrophobic. It's a small amount of space with a lot of people, so it can get pretty difficult. What's that?
I understand you're the artistic person in the family.
You can say that?
A doomsday scenario would be an extremely stressful time, and anything I can do for the family to reduce that stress, I want to do. We would like you to paint grass or trees or something like that.
So we can have one small piece of normalcy here underground.
That's the word I was looking for.
It feels a little bit like a hospital here in the bunker. Everything is white. I picked this, so it feels a little bit more like home.
So what's it gonna have in it?
Some trees. Make it look like it's a view outside.
Oh, like a window?
Mm-hmm.
It's like hour 14 in the bunker, and she's painting a mural so we all don't go crazy from cabin fever. Yay. I'm gonna come back and check on this later.
We're running off a generator. During any time that electrical appliances are being used, we have to turn off all the lights other than the ones that are necessary. Hey, is anybody listening to me?
Or is that electricity?
That looks amazing.
I think this will be very helpful to not be overcome with the stress of the situation.
Are you guys having fun?
I think it's working out rather well.
What's the hardest part of this?
I don't know, being cooped.
Well,
Nobody go anywhere.
do you know what happened?
The breakers are on down here. That means either the generator ran out of gas or we have uninvited guests.
Think we're gonna be okay?
Certainly hope so. You have a seat and relax.
Do you know what happened?
The breakers are on down here.
Do you think we're gonna be okay?
Certainly hope so. You have a seat and relax.
He'll be back now. Let us know what happened and take care of the situation.
Are you scared?
A little. I'm a little worried. He hasn't shown up yet, but...
Think positive and not think the worst. That's how we go through things.
None of your preps, food and water, etc., are gonna do you any good if somebody kills you and takes them away from your family. I don't believe there is a limit to what I would do to protect my family. And I would have to pray for those who did not have the good judgment to realize that ahead of time.
Yay!
So the lights are back on. That's great.
Now we need his papa to come back.
I'm sure he'll be back down as soon as he can. Papa's back.
It's okay. Just put gas in the generator. I learned that I should keep the generator full of fuel, not just mostly. Proud of you guys. I felt like my family handled themselves very well, and what seemed like a long absence to them, I'm sure.
Everybody ready to leave?
Yes.
No.
Can we get an amen?
Amen.
Everybody's just kind of gonna flip out soon because we're all electronic addicts except for like 2 people. So, come on, Sleepy.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
I thought you might be. Everybody survived 24 hours in the bunker. I believe this family will pull together in whatever scenario awaits us.
During a doomsday scenario, I could definitely live in the bunker because it's like, oh my God, if you go outside, you're gonna die.
Everybody's here.
I'd probably stay in the entire time. Wouldn't even try getting out.
Well, did anybody learn anything?
If something happened, I would grab anything that I need and hike it on over here.
It's what the whole experience was for us to get a better idea of what we can do better, and we can do anything if we stick together. Cyber attacks are an ongoing threat, and I don't hold a lot of faith that our federal government is going to save us from any disaster. You have the wolf that will be out there capitalizing and creating more chaos, and you have the shepherd who needs to take care of the sheep. I would like to believe that I would be the shepherd in that situation. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to see to it my family's taken care of.
The experts, Practical Preppers, have scored your preps in 5 categories of 20 points each. Food, 16 out of 20 points. Water, 15 out of 20 points. Shelter, 14 out of 20 points. Security, 15 out of 20 points. Your underground bunker with proper air filtration and sanitation will be an asset in a disaster situation. 15 out of 20 X-Factor points. Overall, you get a 75 out of 100. You have 14 months initial survival time.
If you think my security's only a 15, come try to get in the front door of my bunker.
Cyber attacks in the United States are at an all-time high. However, the government and the electric utility industry are both taking action to advance the grid infrastructure and reduce cybersecurity risks. Curtis is stockpiling resources like a pioneer.
There you go.
But he believes his most effective prep will be his large family and to defend their settlement on Doomsday,
Balance on that red timber.
he's turning them into an army.
There you go. Man, you got him that time, didn't you? Back in 1999, because of the Y2K scare that was approaching, people were talking about how everything was going to happen, the grid was going to go down, all this stuff. So we bought a generator. We stocked up on some canned food, had some water on hand, had a few gallons of gas. And as the time approached, I realized that we really were not ready for this because we didn't know what was going to happen. We had no idea what could happen. We was watching on TV that this could happen or that could happen. But nobody knew what the results were going to be when this Y2K thing hit. But the thing it did make me realize at that point was that we were not ready. And that's why I am a prepper. My farm with various animals will continuously feed my family. I make and use primitive weapons to protect and provide for my family. I have almost 60 family members who will help each other survive during Doomsday. I'm prepping for when the Earth reaches its carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is a biological concept that states that when a certain population reaches a certain size, that something is going to happen to cause that population to crash. There are just billions of people on this planet. There's already problems in several countries concerning famine and disease. There's already problems with food shortages. Once countries start figuring out that their people aren't getting the food that they need, there's going to be war where they're going to be trying to take resources from other countries, and this is going to lead to even more of a population decline. You know, we're looking at a domino effect that's going to be so multifaceted that it's just going to sweep over this planet, and who knows how many's going to be left.
Curtis lives on a 35-acre farm in Missouri with his wife, Kathy.
A couple more eggs should be enough.
Even though he fears overpopulation, he has 10 children and 35 grandchildren, most of whom live no more than 30 miles away.
Let's get the eggs. Oh, yeah, there's still a chicken on there in there.
A retired environmental consultant, Curtis spends his days researching ancient civilizations because he hopes they will hold the key to his family's survival.
Hey, Amanda, can you come in here a minute? In primitive times, as the bigger family you had, the stronger your clan was. I may need some help in remembering some of the names of the grandkids since we have 35. We got Trenton, okay, and then Andy.
Taylor.
Badger and Turtle. Grayson, that's it.
How do you spell that?
Curtis believes that one thing that helped the ancient Maya thrive was the way they organized their households.
12, 13, 14.
So Curtis wants to develop a similar plan.
27, 20. How do we come up with 28? I thought we had 35. I got nothing.
But in order for all 60 family members to bug out to his home, Curtis wants to make sure his property can sustain them.
All right, you guys ready? Huh?
So he has carefully selected 3 types of livestock with an efficient land-to-production ratio.
We raise rabbits, which are great for preppers because they don't take up a whole lot of room, and they reproduce prolifically, so you have a steady supply of meat. Takes care of the bunnies. We have chickens that we get eggs from year after year after year.
There you go.
We have goats that we raise for meat and milk.
The animals on Curtis's farm have 15 acres of grazing land and consume more than 2,000 pounds of feed a year. Today, he's adding another source of protein that won't require any pasture, and he hopes will be completely self-sustainable.
We have 2 ponds here on the property to start getting a sustainable population of fish that we can harvest from year after year.
Curtis, good to see you.
Got some fish for us today?
We got 250 bluegill, 50 catfish, and 2.5 pounds of minnows.
We'll just all start unloading them in the buckets, and we'll walk them down to the pond.
Okay.
Curtis is trying to create a stable ecosystem using 3 different species of fish. The bluegill will eat aquatic insects, while the catfish will eat the minnows, as well as any dead material along the bottom of the pond. Curtis believes this will give his family a self-replenishing food supply.
All right, let's get these down to the pond and then come back and get the minnows and bring those down.
Okay, sounds good.
Alex,
cool.
you helping us?
Yay.
We're just gonna put a few. Every pond is only so big, so it can only hold so many fish. You put too many in there, then they all end up staying real small because there's not enough for them to eat.
For an initial investment of $175, Curtis hopes to have enough fish to feed his entire family of 60 indefinitely.
There you go, put them in the other bucket.
Katie's got her worm. She's ready to fish.
She's ready to fish.
Curtis fears that when the Earth reaches its carrying capacity, people will flee from the cities in search of food.
Take one shot at the pig.
Believing that guns will be a thing of the past, he's prepping his family for unconventional warfare. Curtis fears that the Earth's population will reach its carrying capacity, resulting in catastrophic events that will set the world back hundreds of years. So while a typical family might gather for Sunday dinners, Curtis's weekly family gatherings are defensive training sessions. Today, Curtis is teaching his 4-year-old grandson, Badger, how to build a deadly weapon that dates back to prehistoric times.
All right, we need to go find ourselves a nice stick that we can use to make a paddle out of, okay? Looks like it'll be a nice branch to use right here.
The atlatl is an ancient weapon used from Australia to Central and South America.
About like that?
Yeah.
And can be used to launch a dart or spear over short distances with greater force. Curtis believes that after the Earth reaches its carrying capacity, the systems for producing and distributing ammunition will quickly disappear. So people will have to rely on weapons they can make themselves.
All right, wanna go try it out?
Yeah.
Let's go try it out. And that hooks in the end of your dart, just like that.
Imagine that.
Grab this one, okay? Now with those 2 fingers, you hold the dart. There you go. Okay, how do you stand?
Like
How do you stand? There you go. There you go. Nice. We are in the process of making sure that everybody has at least some training with these primitive weapons. Not only the men, but the women as well, and the children.
Oh, I love doing it.
We start our grandchildren off at about 2, 3 years old on how to shoot a primitive bow. Are you gonna balance on the log? You gotta line it up straight. There you go. Get it lined up straight. Oop, that was close. Oh, almost got him. When you pull it back until your hand gets right here by your mouth, just like that. There you go. Man, you got him that time, didn't you? You have to practice on a consistent basis with these types of weapons. It's not like a gun. It's not like you can just pick it up, line up the sights, and pull the trigger. There's a lot more to it than that, and the only way to do that is through practice. There you go. Good kill. We start off with basic training. They have to get their form and technique down first, and then they can work on accuracy. And once you start getting your accuracy down a little bit, then we start moving on to something a little more difficult, like what I call tactical bow training. Amanda, I want you to balance on that red timber. Take one shot at the pig. Shoot the little pig. Oh, one more. There you go. Good shot.
Curtis and his family practice speed and precision drills. He compares them to police training exercises that reinforce basic gun handling for quick response by replicating real-life scenarios.
All right. We're gonna try another one. This one's gonna be a little different. You drop the marble in, and before that marble hits the can, you run over to this stake, kneel, and shoot. There you go. Good shot. This shot, you're gonna lay down on the bench, feet off the ground, and shoot the deer. Nice. You have to be able to shoot fast. That's the main advantage we're gonna have with these weapons, is how fast we can get those arrows out. Line down. Let's everybody get your arrows. When this planet has reached its carrying capacity, I know that our family is gonna be working together because we have complete and absolute trust in each of us to do the right thing for the benefit of the family, because that's really what it all boils down to, is family.
The experts, practical preppers, have scored your preps in 5 categories of 20 points each for a total possible score of 100. Food, 10 out of 20 points. Water, 10 out of 20 points. Shelter, 14 out of 20 points. Security, 12 out of 20 points. Your primitive approach to preparedness could go a long way in troubled times. 17 out of 20 X-Factor points. Overall, you get a 63 out of 100. You have 9 months initial survival time.
The 9-month survival time would probably give us enough time that we can start becoming a little more self-sufficient.
Estimates on the carrying capacity of the Earth vary widely, with many experts concluding that it's impossible to predict, while researchers caution that people need to make sound decisions to minimize the impact of a growing population. Many are optimistic that technological advances and an eventual population stabilization will overcome the challenges of carrying capacity. Every inch of Karissa Baca's property is used for prepping for a new Great Depression, and she believes she and her pets will have to pay the price for survival.
I was a city girl working a great corporate job, and I had beautiful things. And then the economy crashed. I was laid off, along with a lot of my friends and family. After that, I had to file for bankruptcy and suffer through losing all of those things along with my condo. I then moved in with my parents, and that made me realize how fragile this economy is. And that's why I'm a prepper. Our chickens and goats provide for us and are a huge part of all of our preps. Our easy access to mountain spring water and this 8,500-gallon tank means we will not go thirsty. We planted a 1/4-acre garden which provides us with most of our food. We're preparing for the next Great Depression.
Karissa and Marcelo believe that the 2008 financial crisis was just the beginning of an economic downward spiral that will leave society in debt with no way out, sending the U.S. into a second Great Depression.
Stores closing, people losing their houses, food shortages, people ransacking each other's homes, violence, a shortage of weapons to protect yourself, just be chaos.
Just 1 hour outside of San Diego lies Campo, California. 3 years ago, Karissa and her husband Marcelo moved here to begin their prepping lifestyle.
This is our mini house. We have an entire house in about 350 square feet. We keep the little baby chickens that are just newly hatched. Start down there with the eggs in the incubator. And then once they're about getting ready to hatch, then we move them up here to another incubator. And everything's temperature controlled. This is our newest little guy. He's about 2 days old.
Yeah, little guy, you're just in an egg, huh?
He's waiting for the rest of his brothers to come out too. Woo!
I have about 41 chickens here, and we should be getting around 50 to 75 in the next couple of months. When an economic collapse happens, we can sell them and trade them for things that we need.
We grow mealworms, and the chickens eat them. They're a renewable source. Right now, they're in their beetle state. These beetles lay eggs, they become worms, and the whole cycle just starts again. When they're in the worm state, we can eat them and feed them to the chickens. It's good nutrients. So we'll keep them in here until they reproduce, and then we get more worms.
Researchers have estimated that mealworms are 25% protein, more than beef, chicken, or pork. So while Karissa is growing the mealworms as a renewable food source for her chickens, she also produces enough to sustain her and Marcelo.
I'll eat them. Toast them up, put a little salt on them.
Karissa and Marcelo feel they have an ample food supply, but with 97% of apparel in the U.S. being imported, they fear that after an economic collapse, clothing will become unavailable. so they are learning how to make their own clothes from scratch.
So in an economic collapse, we're gonna have to know how to use every part and every piece of our animals, and that includes their hair.
Known as Shiangora, dog hair was historically used by the Navajo tribe to produce textiles since before the colonization of America.
Good job. Good job. No.
With dog hair said to be 80% warmer than wool, Karissa and Marcelo stockpiled both dog and goat hair in waterproof containers all around their property.
We have goat hair and dog hair. And one of the things to definitely learn is to make your own clothing. He's doing pretty good. So we're getting some local experts out here today to help us see if we can figure out how to spin animal hair.
What were you guys interested in learning how to spin?
Goat hair and some dog hair.
So the problem we're gonna run into with the goat hair is that it's a really smooth, hairy fiber versus a woolen fiber, which has a lot of crimp in the fiber strands that help lock it together. We use these are called hand cards. So we're gonna have you take a little bit of the goat hair. Yeah, that's a really good job. So the goal of this is to get all of the fibers in one direction, and it makes it a lot easier to spin if they are all aligned.
Do you think we can use the dog hair to make it a little bit better?
We could try.
It's not working so well. Doesn't really seem like it can make a roll log.
So, not so good. This might not work out so well.
The goat hair and the dog hair are too short to be able to be woven together to make yarn.
We probably suggest using like a longer staple length of something.
You can try human hair.
I've never tried it, but it's an option.
We need the longer hair to put in with the shorter hair. So I thought maybe we could use some human hair. Weave it back on.
There we go. Hair.
Good job, baby.
Once the human hair is carded, locking the clumps of fiber together, a spindle is used to twist the fibers into yarn.
Yeah, it works. Cool.
We did try the human hair, and it actually worked. And we made yarn about 6 feet long. So when the second Great Depression hits, we'll be able to use our animals. And now we know we will be able to use their hair as well.
It's a nice color, too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go back to the city and work a 9 to 5 and rely on that paycheck.
Ready to eat?
Yep.
When an economic collapse will happen, it'd probably be very bad at first. The fact is, though, I think it is worth it to prepare fresh eggs.
I don't think we're paranoid. I think we're just prepared. Oops. Thank you.
The experts, practical preppers, have scored your preps in 5 categories of 20 points each. Food, 10 out of 20 points. Water, 16 out of 20 points. Shelter, 11 out of 20 points. Security, 4 out of 20 points. Implementing self-sufficient techniques like raising your own livestock and making yarn out of animal hair is commendable. 8 out of 20 X-Factor points. Overall, you get a 49 out of 100. You have 4 months initial survival time.
We're beginners, so gotta start somewhere. I think we did pretty good for beginners.
Although the 2008 economic collapse proved to be the worst since the Great Depression, employment has increased substantially, and most economists remain optimistic that the chances of another Great Depression occurring anytime soon are slim.